guys, and welcome to the Craft Bakery course. This is a course over the next 12 to 13 weeks, which you will be going through different products, making different products. First week will be puff pastry, second week will be choux pastry, and so on. You'll also do bread and things like that. The final week will be a showstopper week, just like on TV. You'll make a showstopper cake, which will involve using a chocolate sponge, but we'll give you more details towards the end. So if you start thinking about that in your head, what kind of a cake you're going to make, and we'll also bring in outside judges. We'll bring over a baker from Ireland, who you will see in some of the videos through the little workbooks that are on each week. What we'll do is we will release each week. And if you work through there's a little workbook, if you work through that, there's videos, there's information, there's recipes, and then that should set you up ready to do the final assessment on week 1, which is 3 questions. And for the first 6 weeks, you'll have an assessment to do, but what you can do is do that online. So once you sign up for the course, you'll get your login to LearnNet. Go on to LearnNet, and then you just work your way through the weeks. Really, really simple. And the good thing about that is you can do it at home, or you can do it at class, at school, if you haven't got a laptop. And it kind of freezes up for whenever you can see me, whenever I come down to visit you, or I come into the kitchen or into the school. And it means we can go straight into doing some baking. Whatever format that might be, I'm not sure. It could be a bit blended. But that's the reason why I've made these videos and put them onto the course for you to look at, just in case we need to change tack if there's another scenario where we need to work from home. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is basically show you some cream horns and a little bit of cheese twists. Once you work through the workbook, you'll see other videos in there that gets into more bread making and things like that. On week 1, it's predominantly puff pastry, and we have some videos that we've already uploaded onto that. So what I've got here is some Bell's puff pastry. This is frozen. Once you go through the workbook, there is a baker who will show you how to make fresh puff pastry, using the different methods, the Scotch method, the French method, and so on, the English method. This here is the Scotch method puff pastry. I always use this. It's Bell's, and not just because it's Scottish and it comes from Glasgow, but because it's quite soft, easy to use, and you can quite easily get that in the supermarkets. And it's a really good product, so it's Bell's. The thing about this, the difference between this and using the frozen Just rolls too tight, it's too hard to work with, whereas you'll see once I start rolling this out, it's really soft and easy to work. Okay, so we've got that. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly open that up using my scissors or a knife. So I've got a knife here, and I'm going to open up the packet. As you can see, it's really soft, perfect. You don't want to over handle it. Just take it out of the packaging, and then we'll get rid of that over here. So we've got that ready, and that's ready to go. So I'm just going to dust out the workbench like so, and then we're just going to roll it out. So I'm just going to roll this out, so, and then roll it out. So once you're rolling it, I don't know if you can see it with the camera, you can see all the little air bubbles, and I can hear them all cracking and bursting, so that's really good pastry. And then just another little bit of flour, not too much, because remember you have to clean it up, so you don't want everywhere covered in flour. So we roll that out, and then roll it out here, make sure it's completely rolled out. You don't want it too thick, because when you come to make your cornets, they'll puff up and they'll be too thick. Here. So once you go on to LearnNet, there is an area on LearnNet where you can upload photographs of your evidence of the products that you make, and there's an area there where you can upload even video. If you keep the video between 250 megabytes, and then that'll be enough to upload it, and it'll make it quite easy to upload. Any more than that, and it won't accept it. So just be careful if you're uploading any of your video evidence. Just keep it below that. So what I've got here is a pizza cutter, and I'm just going to trim down the size of that, and just trim it like that, and like so. What you need to watch as well is that if you put this onto a wooden block, because what you don't want to do is in your kitchen or in your school, upsetting the teacher when you cut into a nice bench. Okay, this bench is quite old, so it's okay. And I just made a hole there when I dropped that. So I've got that. So then what you're going to do is cut nice thin strips. You can also use a ruler and cut the strips like that. But what I'm going to do is just do it freehand. Don't have them too thin. Just about that thickness will be about 20 centimeters. You can see it went thicker to one side and thin at the other, and that's what you want. So you just cut them like that. Cut them all the way up. If you're in a proper bakery, they would have a tool with a lot of little wheels on it, and it kind of extends out like that, and then you can just do the whole up in the one go, and it keeps them all a nice even size. But I haven't got one of those, so I'm just improvising with my pizza cutter. So I'm cutting these down, so, and then just cutting nice thin strips like that. Okay, so I'll just do about 4 or 5, and I'll keep this for the little cheese straws. I'll keep them over there. So we've got our little strips, and then what we've got is the little moulds here, which you should have in your class in the kitchen. And then what we'll do is use a bit of tissue, and what we're going to do is just grease the moulds. And I'm just going to grease them up so to make sure that the pastry, once it cooks, it kind of slips off easy enough. So you just give it a rub with that, just to grease it, and then push that around one end like so, and then just roll it onto the prinette. And then we just twist it round and just work your way up the mould. Making sure you've got it completely covered. Then we'll just give it a little touch of egg wash. And what I do is I usually use like an old muffin tray and set them up like that, and then bake them upright. You can put them on a tray and use a bit of greaseproof paper, but I think it could, it kind of browns one side and leaves it flat, whereas this you get a nice swirl the whole way up. You can use different, you can use a cake tin or whatever, the little bun molds or something like that, just to hold it upright. And then let's give this, so I'll do about 4 or 5 of these. So, and then just roll them round. Just push it onto there, and then just roll it around like that. If you have the strips too thin, what happens is sometimes when you bake them, they separate, and then you get a hole halfway up your cornet, so you don't want that. So I tend to make them quite flat. If you've been to some bakeries that have these are quite massive, but I do them quite small like that because I quite like that kind of nice dainty size, and it makes them nice kind of bite size. But you can make them all different sizes. You make your strips, a wee bit longer, and make nice big massive cones. Okay, so let's keep one of that. There's that's a bit too fat. So we've got that. and then we just squish it on and then just roll it around. Okay, so you will get a chance to make these. This is just really a kind of demonstration video just to let you see the kind of things that you're going to be doing and some of the products that you're going to be making once you come to the practical side of the course. Well, it's quite a big course, so the first week's quite easy. Puff pastry, we'll be using good quality pastry, but we will show you how to make, once you go through the course you'll see the videos that show you how to make the puff pastry from scratch using all the different methods. And we have, we're lucky enough to have an experienced baker that's uploaded some videos for us, which is very good of him. So he's done that. So we'll keep wrapping this round. We'll do one more, and we'll put these in the oven and we'll bake them off. And hopefully they should turn out okay. And we'll just wrap that round like that. And then egg wash it. So we'll put that in there. So let's bring that over so the other camera can see it. Like that. And in fact, I'll just do another one. Use up this pastry. And we'll just roll it around. So as I said, every week for the first 6 weeks you'll have an assessment to do, but all the information that you need is all on the LearnNet. So everything you need, and it's when it comes to do the final exam, it's open book, but you need to make sure that you no copying and pasting and things like that. So it's a bit of common sense. Just learn as much as you can, study this, everything you need is online as I said, and then just close that all down, all the tabs, and then just do the exam. So the first one, there's only 3 questions, and the final one is a hygiene one. There's about, I think 7 or 8 questions, but it's all quite simple. The main thing is that we learn how to bake and we have a bit of fun on the way. And it's quite a good qualification to have. And the show-stopping week's quite good. It's really good. So I've got that. So you can see I've got these already, and then I'm just going to pop these in the oven in the back kitchen. So we've got them in the oven, and then what I'll do is I'll make a few little cheese straws, and we'll just make them up. Keep that. Whenever you're working with a puff pastry, don't roll it into a ball. Remember, you've spent all that time, or you will spend a lot of time folding it, doing the book folds, and making sure you've got all the different layers with the air pockets in. So you want to try and keep that in. So if you've got the kind of side bits, or the kind of scrappy bits of the puff pastry, make sure you do that. Fold it, and fold it, and then just keep it like that. Push it down a wee bit, and then you can roll that out and use it. But you're trying to keep the layers, keep everything in layers, and you don't want to handle it too much. So we've got some puff pastry here, and what I'll do is I'll just flour my bench so you can see I made a little hole there. So what I've got here is I deliberately used some Lockerbie coloured cheese, just so as you can see it once I put it through the cheese, through the puff pastry. These are little cheese straws that I was going to do, just to use up this bit of pastry. You can use a yeast, a kind of a puff pastry yeast pastry, but to use this, we'll just use the puff pastry. So we'll cut that in half, that, and then we're going to sprinkle one half with the cheese. Not too much, just enough to cover the base. Yeah, just enough. And we just do that, cover it all up. And you can see that on the other camera as well. So do that. And just layer that out, like so, and then put that on top, and just gently push it down, and then we're just going to roll it just to kind of infuse the cheese in with the puff pastry, like so. So we're just pushing it in like that. Put it around a wee bit. Push it out like so. So this is quite good. You can serve this with soup. Serve it with soup as a wee kind of snack. Things like that. So you can see the cheese just starting to come through, the colour coming through the puff pastry. And what I'm going to do is use my old trusty pizza cutter, just kind of trim it up a wee bit, like so. That over to one side, and then trim that up as well, and then keep that. And then what I could do with that is roll it out again, cut it in little squares, and use it as bake them off little croutons for soup. And cut the edges off here, edges up here, and then if you haven't got a steady hand, you can use. If you're like me, you can use a ruler, and that just keeps it nice and straight. But I'm just going to do these freehand just for quickness. But you can use a ruler or a straight edge knife, you know, a large bread knife. Use that, and that might work. And then we just cut that down, and just quicker. So make sure you have your oven on. For these cheese straws, I normally put quite a high temperature for the oven, and I'll just grab a tray. So I've got one of my trays here with a non-stick on it. Oh. And then what I'm going to do is hold down one end and then spin the other end, and that should just kind of sticking to the bench here, but it should make it a nice spiral. So you can leave it like that, and then just put it on your tray. Put that right on your tray, and then we'll just bake these off. So I'll just do 2. So do that, hold it down with that, and then just spin it around. The floor's not letting me roll it, so you can see what's, if you roll it and then it just twists. And then what you can do is you can make it, leave it loose, or you can make it a nice tight spin like that. Spin it right around, and then put it on the tray. So I'll do the same for this one. And spin it, twist it, so you get a nice kind of pattern. That's the best one yet. That one's a bit weird. That. And what you could do is to, and then just put the one there. Just keep working. So you can make them really tight or make them loose. I like making them quite loose. We'll do one kind of tightened up a wee bit. So you can see that looks quite nice. Like so, and we put that on there. And then we get another one, and we twist it. And give it a good twist. Like that. So I've got these on my tray, and then I'll just put these in to bake. Okay, so here you can see that I've got the courgettes and the cheese straws out of the oven. Whenever you take them out of the oven, what you can do is make sure, I've already loosened this one, is make sure you put your whole hand round and just gently twist and then take it out. Obviously make sure it's cooled down slightly. And then what I've got here is a little bit of stock syrup. I'm just going to brush it while it's still hot, put a nice glaze and a nice kind of sticky sweetness to it. So I've done that. You can do it when it's hot, or what you could do is take them out when they're almost ready in the oven, dust them with a wee bit of icing sugar, and then put them back in, and then just bake the glaze on them that way. But I always find I always have a stock syrup on the go anyway, so I'll just use that. These are the little cheese straws, as you can see, look quite nice with the orange cheese. As you do more of these, you'll get more refined and have a better twist, but I quite like them kind of the odd shape. It looks quite good, especially when you put them into a kind of bowl all sticking up like that. They look quite good. If they're all kind of misshaped, they're too even, they're not that interesting, but if you have them a wee bit of misshaped, they look a lot better. So what I'm going to do is just quickly cream these up. So I've got my piping bag, I've got my fresh cream. So you notice on my piping bag I've kind of rolled it back. So I've rolled it back over my hand, and then I've got a little opening here. And then I'm just going to fill the piping bag like that, and then just close my hand and pull the cream off. So you find this is a lot easier than, I know some people what they do is put it over a jug and things like that, but I always find if you do it this way, it's a lot quicker, a lot cleaner, and then you just put it into the bag like that. And then just push the air out at the bottom, push the cream right down. Then your right hand, or if you're left-handed, your left hand, wrap it around your thumb, and then twist, you feel a bit of pressure, and then you squeeze, and then guide with this hand. And that's a lot easier. You see a lot of people squeezing it from here, and then you get cream coming out the top. So if we do it like that, it's a lot easier. And then we'll just make sure you've let your canettes cool down, because you don't want your cream melting. And then you just fill them up, like so, and then you have them like that. And then you can also fill them with fruit, things like that, and garnish them up that way. I'll just move this out of the way, and I'll just bring these a lot closer. So I put a wee bit too much cream in that one. I'll just fill these up, and then just put a wee bit less in it, and you can see it just comes out the top, and it sits better as well, he says. And then we'll just fill the rest of them up, like so. And then you can serve them. You can dip the ends in chocolate if you want. I know in bakeries they do various things with them. Fill them like a pastry, like a custard, a pastry cream, and fill them up like that. So we've got them all nicely filled up. We've got that, and then we've got our little cheese straws, and they're quite nice with soup. You can put a wee bit of parmesan over the top, serve them some minestrone soup. Very tasty. Wee bit fattening though, but very, very tasty. So I hope you enjoy the course, and I know you will enjoy the course. Anybody that's been on it has thoroughly enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. And the good news is you get a certificate at the end, and hopefully it'll get you into baking, and you never know, you could be the next Paul Hollywood. Okay, thank you.